What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I'm going to show you guys Representative Larson on the House floor. He was talking about Social Security, a Social Security increase, mainly talking about Social Security 2100 Act. And so I just showed you guys a video a couple of days ago, Representative Larson talking about Social Security reform. I think it's important that we continue the discussion. I'm showing you guys updates about Social Security. This is what's happening when it comes to Social Security. This is what is being talked about right now. Now, I know they haven't moved forward with legislation yet, but they need to talk about it first, gain support, and then move forward with legislation. Okay, so you're going to hear a lot of talking, but that's good. At least they're talking about it. Because what we see, and we've seen this over time, and I've been watching the government run for like 30 years. I've been really interested in this whole process, and it takes time for legislation. And sometimes that's good because that means it's well thought out once they get to the point where they actually move forward. Because sometimes you'll see them move very quickly on legislation, and that legislation is very poor. And so the fact that they're spending time on this, the fact that Representative Larson has been at the forefront when it comes to Social Security reform, he's been talking about this for a long time. He's put out proposals for a very long time. He's been able to fine-tune the proposals that he's putting out. Okay, so he's been able to look at different things and say, you know what, this is not going to work, but this might work, or this is good. Let's improve it by doing this. And so that's a good thing, the fact that they're actually talking about it, and they continue to talk about it. The fear is when they stop talking about it, that's when we have a problem, because that's when it gets swept under the rug. You never hear about it again, and it just goes away. Okay, and it might go away for 9 years, and then they'll start talking about it again, because that's when you could potentially see a cut of 23% if they don't address Social Security reform and address the trust fund. So I'm going to show you guys this clip. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and also consider joining our membership. You can be a part of our family. You get special emojis and private live streams and things like that. So something to consider. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look. Here we go.
Thank you, Speaker Molinaro. It's great to be here this morning, and I rise to discuss the ongoing issue of Social Security. As you know, Mr. Speaker, more than 70 million Americans rely on Social Security, and Social Security is the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and the #1 anti-poverty program for children. It also, Mr. Speaker, is the #1 program with regard to disability, and more veterans rely on Social Security disability than they do on the VA. Mr. Speaker, I know that Speaker Hochin was in the chair before, and part of our rising to Social Security is to make people aware in their districts of how many retirees they actually have. For example, in New York's 19th, you have 173,667 recipients. More than $300 million comes into the 17th District in New York monthly for those recipients.
Now, it's interesting that he's saying this, and he said this before. I've heard him say this time and time again. But what he is outlining there is he's saying, look, this doesn't just benefit people who are receiving Social Security benefits. So let's say you provide an increase for people receiving Social Security benefits. It doesn't just benefit the people who are receiving that increase, but it also benefits the district. It benefits the people that are in that district. Why? Because you have people that are receiving Social Security benefits. They receive an increase, so now they have more money to spend, and they're going to spend that money in their districts. And so he's doing something here where he's saying, look, if we did have an increase to Social Security benefits, that is going to help the community as a whole. And so it's not just one of those situations where we're providing an increase, but it's only going to help the beneficiaries. It's going to help the economy in those districts. And it's something that politicians can run on. So if you're a representative and you have a district and you do provide an increase, now you can say, look at how this improved our district.
130,000 of which are retirees, 20,000 disabled workers, 8,900 widows, 4,247 spouses, and almost 10,000 children. But what's astounding, Mr. Speaker, is that Congress has done nothing. In fact, what will shock the public is that Congress has not extended the benefits of Social Security in more than 50 years. Richard Nixon was President of the United States when Congress last acted. Imagine 10,000 baby boomers a day become eligible for Social Security. And yet, Congress has done nothing. More than 70 million Americans rely on Social Security. Again, the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and the #1 anti-poverty program for children. Congress continues not to do what our constituents send us here to do: vote. President Biden has put out a plan. We have put out a plan called Social Security 2100 that's detailed and paid for. This might also surprise you too, Mr. Speaker, as I know it does many citizens, that the president's call to lift the cap on people making over $400,000 who pay nothing into Social Security. Imagine the workers, the more than 170,000 in your district who pay in to Social Security and have done so all throughout their lives, and yet others who pay nothing for the nation's #1 anti-poverty program. That's why this is so important that Congress take action and step up and do the right thing. With $300 million coming into New York's district, Mr. Chairman, those are dollars that are spent locally right back in the community. For all people listening to C-SPAN or people and guests in our audience, Mr. Speaker, they should be making sure that they're calling their representatives and making them aware of the fact that this program has not been enhanced. This is a benefit. This is no entitlement. This is an earned benefit that people have paid for, and that only the United States Congress can act to change so that these individuals will get the relief. You imagine a cost of living increase that hasn't been enhanced in over 50 years. So I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and with that, I yield back and hope that the American people, and more importantly, this Congress, acts on behalf of the people that desperately need our help.
Okay, so that was Representative Larson. Now, that last part that he was talking there, he was alluding to the cost of living adjustment. So he's talking about right now they're using the CPIW. What he wants to do in the Social Security 2100 Act is to change that to the CPIE, so the CPI for the elderly. So we're talking about the Consumer Price Index. I've talked about this in great detail on the channel. So if you guys want to know what the CPI is, every month I go over the CPI, I talk about it, and we also look and we do the calculations when it comes to the cost of living adjustment prior to them making the announcement in October. So that's something that I'll be doing this year as well. And so there's some changes that the Social Security 2100 actually has in it that would benefit, actually increase Social Security for everyone receiving benefits, as well as there's some different tweaks and things that's in the Social Security 2100 Act. Now, I went over that as well. This was probably about a year and a half ago where I went into detail and I told you what was in this proposal. So I'm not going to do that today, but I just want you guys to know when it comes to reform for Social Security, he is at the forefront. He is the one, Representative Larson is the one that's speaking the loudest on the topic. So I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one.